Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the online book launch party. And if everyone could put themselves on mute for right now, who's on the screen, just press the audio with the mute. I'm Lynn Sanders, and I am so grateful and excited to have you here. This is a first. We have people from all over the world. We have, and I want you to put your name in the chat with where you're coming in from and any company that you're with. But we have people from India, from Ecuador, from California, from all over the place. And I'm so thrilled. I have a lot to share with you, and I want you to know that you're very, very special to me, all of you, because you are making a difference to me just by showing up and showing that you care. Today, we're going to be hearing the story.
Oh, hi.
Oh, someone's got to be off on mute for right now, okay? So you're going to
My
hear.
phone on the left side has totally gone out on me. And
Somebody. Oh, it's AJ.
and
AJ, you
it's
have to
so
mute.
interesting.
I'm going to mute you, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. This is my new, you can't really see it that well right this second, but I'm going to end up taking the screen back and off. This is the new Adventures in Ecuador book. I'm going to reveal what it really looks like. You're going to see I'm sort of sitting in a semi-closet here. It's an unusual space, but it's okay. So just for a moment, I'm going to take off the beautiful background, and you'll see Adventures in Ecuador, a diary of a volunteer. And we're here because we're all people who want to make a difference. And we're celebrating not only the launch, the publishing of this book that was a bestseller as an ebook, but we're also celebrating Zully Alvarado and her amazing nonprofit, Causes for Change International, that has helped thousands of children in Ecuador get free health care and helped many, many people, I don't know how many, across the United States who have disabilities. And we're also lucky right here to have many volunteers who have been with Zully over different years. Some I know, some I haven't seen in decades. And we're celebrating, of course, we're celebrating you for being here to share in our joy. And so I want to make this as meaningful for all of you as possible. So, so the agenda is I'm going to tell a little bit about my story. Zully's going to tell something about her story. And then we're going to hear something from our surprise guests. And then we're going to allow you to have some question and answer time. And we're going to be giving you free gifts, because what's a party without going away presents, right? So I'd like to just share something that happened to me this morning. And none of you have heard this story except my husband, Joel, and Andrew. But I believe that our soul lives on, and the people we love are with us no matter what. And it's hard to believe that when we go through a lot of challenges and hard times and tragedies. But sometimes if we're open to spirit, things can happen that really will reassure us that we're still connected with loved ones. So the reason I'm so passionate, someone's off.
Then you're mute.
Something happened. Okay. On December 16th, 2004, I got a phone call that no one should have to get from my brother, telling me my mother just had a heart attack. And a few minutes later, he called to say she didn't make it. And my world literally fell apart. I didn't even know if I wanted to continue going on without her. And my back went out and I could barely walk. And I ended up with an energy healer who told me, you can be dead on the inside and alive on the outside. How do you choose to live? And how could you best honor your mother's memory? And those words were a turning point for me, because I realized to best honor my beloved mom, who I love dearly all the time, I would want to do the most I could in this world while I'm still here. And I became very conscious of time. And just a few short years later, I myself had a near brush with death from my ruptured appendix at the Denver airport. And I was planning to board a plane not knowing that I had a ruptured appendix. because I was misdiagnosed in the hospital. And my mom's spirit, I know, was watching out for me, and the flight was canceled 3 times at the gate. And by then I knew I couldn't fly, and I was rushed by ambulance to the hospital and had emergency surgery. So those main incidences taught me that we can't take our life for granted. We've got to do what we can while we're here. And that's why I started a company to bring out more positive stories, because I feel our world is so bombarded with negative news, it brings us all down and we get physically affected by that. So transition now to going volunteering with Zully's company. After those experiences, I was ready just to do something to make a difference. And this shows you the power of just talking to one another, networking. Joel, my husband, happened to hear about this mission trip to Ecuador because another dentist knew that Joel spoke Spanish. So he called the dentist and back and had more conversations, and he said, let's go. And I thought, fine, let's go. I didn't know what would be involved. I didn't know we would be gathering supplies and toothbrushes and toothpaste and 1,000 toys that became 1,800 toys. But, once we committed, I learned from this experience that you just have to have faith, belief, and perseverance that you can do whatever you want to do. And Zully was a major inspiration to me and many others because she was such a dynamic leader, and she is such a dynamic story that she inspired us to work with joy when we were out in Ecuador, because we were giving, and by giving we receive. So the background of the story is I wanted to write this story to inspire other children, to let them know that they can make a difference no matter what their age. And I learned from Sparky, Grandma Sparky is here now, that youth suicide is the second leading cause of death among our youth. And so what can we do? We've got to uplift our youth, and we've got to uplift ourselves. And that's why I think all of us need to bring out positive stories, whether it's just within your own family or with friends or out to the public. I think we have that responsibility because we are all good people. We've come here together for a purpose, and that's to honor and celebrate a positive story. And so I want you to be encouraged that you too can make a difference just by sharing your story, whether it's in print or spoken language. So that's basically my story behind the story. And I want to turn it over to Zully, who is such a light of love for so many people. And she's brought people here from all over the world to be at this meeting right today. So Zully, I'm going to ask you to unmute. If you want me to ask you questions, fine, or you can talk, because you're a very dynamic spokesperson on your own too. Go ahead.
Well, just jump in whenever you see me,
Sure,
Lynn. Okay. Well, Zully, first I want to invite you to imagine, just take a short trip with me just to get a little bit of a background where I came from, where my roots are. There's a long road, countryside. It's a large embankment on both sides, very deep. On one side, there's a family with 4 children, 4 boys. And the house, it's used as a sort of a grocery store for the villagers to come from all areas to come and do their shopping on Fridays and Saturdays, and then go back home for Monday work. On the other side is the home that I lived in with 3 sisters. My mother was a laundry woman. She washed clothing for all the people in the surrounding areas. My father, he worked a banana plantation, cutting the bananas that typically were exported to foreign lands. I don't remember much about my childhood other than 2 things really come to mind from that experience from my early years. One was when seeing the machete that my father used to take to work every single day. When he would come home, that machete would stand in the corner of our bamboo house. And my determination was to learn somehow to walk. I was paralyzed. Imagine that, at the early age of 2. But I wanted to learn to walk. I grabbed at my machete and I stood up. I decided to try to take a few steps. The machete went right into my foot.
Ooh.
Blood all over the place. That was one of the experiences of my desire to learn to walk. Another experience that a beautiful experience for me on that embankment. Every night I would see, we would have the cousins on the one side, that all the adults were around the fire. They would go after when it started getting dark. They would go sit around the fire and hear the laughter on that side of the road. On the other side was where my house was, us children, where they were all playing, and I was lying on the ground. That's where I would typically be placed, just lying on the ground, looking up at the heavens. And as soon as everybody got tired of playing, they would come and lie next to me and include me in the games, counting the stars. And we just count 1, 2, the highest, the brightest, whatever it could be, and just wish upon a star. That was my childhood. Until one day, there was a visitor from a foreign land that had come to my village. He was dressed, this visitor, I had been taken in the search for another miracle. And my parents had gone and to get me quickly because there was this foreign visitor in my village, my town, in my school that I had started to attend. And this foreign visitor wanted to meet me. And they had talked about me. And so as my mother was preparing me to go meet this visitor, she tells me, they're going to take you away. You gotta go. Why are you sending me away? Why? I don't want to go away. Who are these? And he says, you must go away. We don't want you anymore. You can't stay with us anymore. Why? What did I do? What's wrong with me? You gotta go. Stop crying. At that moment, I decided to become as hard as a rock. No more feelings. I'm not wanted. We go to the school where this foreign visitor was. It was the missionary priest from Chicago who was going to take me away. He had to ask permission to take me for medical treatment to the United States. He was dressed all in gray, long cassock. This other man that was with him, if I recall correctly, he was dressed in all black with a purple sash, with the cone on his head. It was called a cardinal from New York. So that was my introduction to the foreign visitors that were going to take me away. And that was the beginning of my landing in Chicago, coming to a foreign land to be taken away. I had become as hard as a rock, separated from my parents, my siblings, my cousins, everything that I knew, my language, my culture, my food. I arrived in Chicago with a spaghetti strap dress on a cold, wintry day on February 25th of 1965. The day was exactly, I remember it so perfectly. From that day forward, I learned to be independent, to learn to be strong, to be courageous, to make decisions for myself at a young age, as early as possibly could. I was 9 at the time. I'd gotten polio at the age of 2, so I was paralyzed. Soon after, I learned English. 3 months later, I learned to switch the light. I learned to turn on water. I was so happy. I forgot Spanish. I forgot what it was like to do other things. I was taken to a carnival at a church. And guess what? I won a skateboard. I was so determined to learn to use that skateboard, even though I could not walk, I could not run, I could not do anything. But that was my prize. The family that I was placed with wanted me to return that skateboard. How could a child who couldn't walk, couldn't run, couldn't do anything use a skateboard? Please take that skateboard, give her a toy. No, I don't want a toy. I want the skateboard. I am going to learn to use that skateboard. And guess what? I got up every morning, whatever I had to do, I got on that skateboard and I learned to use that skateboard. And that was the beginning of my learning to walk or whatever I had to do Shriners Hospital in Chicago helped me do that. And forever, I am so grateful to that missionary priest, to that cardinal, to those families who had such an impact on my life. How could not I not repay back for what I have been given? How could I not pay back to the two countries, one that gave me birth and the other one that gave me life, and all those families who contributed to me? Yes, those years that I learned to walk, somehow polio does come back somehow. Yes, and I was impacted again in my late 20s, in my early 30s, where I lost again my ability to be able to walk and run like I had before. It gave me the opportunity to learn what it was like to stand on my two legs for a period of time. I was healthy, I was thriving, I got my education, I went to school, and I got my career. And yes, I was again in the bed, not knowing what was going to happen for the rest of my life. But I had certain friends that came around and taught me again how to take care of my health and well-being. There are two of them here, two greatest friends that I came across along my life, Dr. Dan and Tamara Faust, and so many others. I was never given the opportunity or thought that I was ever going to get married. I have my husband right here, my gringo, that my grandmother had warned me that someday I would never return back to Ecuador. So when she said goodbye and gave me her blessing along with my father, that they would never see me, but most likely I would marry a gringo. Yes, I married my gringo, and he's here, and he did go on one of the missions with me. And along the way, there was, after I got had the gratitude, the fortune to be able to walk, it's like, what's my purpose in life again? Causes came to be. And I met a wonderful friend who's here this evening, Marilyn Varn, who was the very, very first who I said to her, if I'm going to live and do something with my life, I have to really show and reconnect with my biological family back in Ecuador, who are my true friends, my true family. They're from this country. I want somehow to find a way to connect my two Americas, my friends from the North and my family from the North, and somehow to know, for them to know my roots, my beginnings, my family in Ecuador, where I was really born. That was my village. And Marilyn was the very, very first who gave me the courage and the strength to go back to Ecuador and see all those areas, all those countries, and connect with my parents again, and my siblings, and my family. And then all of you who are here, like George, who went to the third, Tamara, and Christian, and Charlie, and anyone, if I missed you here, you have, and Monica, all of you who made such an impact. And you are proof, Joel, Tamara, Lynn, and Andrew who will be here with us. You are causes. You gave me causes. And thank you. I'm forever grateful. All those contributing have donated for now. Next month, it'll be 28 years. Marilyn went with me on the very first on the search mission for 3 weeks in October of 1996. In 1997, 98, Brooke, who's here, he was my firefighter. He was here somewhere, who came, and George. So thank you. Thank you, Lynn. I'll turn the floor back to you. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. I think we can all make comments in the chat. You speak so beautifully, Zully, and what a story. What a story. We went with Zully on 3 different healthcare missions, not just one, just, and she was operating from her wheelchair up and down these hills and going to an island where they had a rope ladder. And I don't know how it was managed. Someone had to carry you up the ladder. I mean, I was scared just going up the rope ladder, and here you are, fearless, going everywhere. What a story. And that has to be on your list for stories, Zully. Well, since you mentioned Marilyn, and we have like 8, 9, 10, 11 people, and wanted to speak for a few moments, I would love to hear Marilyn. I didn't know you were the first one. Could you share a little bit of your thoughts of how you got connected with Zully and why you decided to be so perseverant, in helping out? Because I remember you as well.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure for me to be here because when I met Zully, I had no idea what I was getting into.
Can you move your camera? Oh, there, that's better. I want to see your whole face. Go ahead.
Can you see me?
Yeah, just if you could move the camera up a little so I can see your whole there a little more. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I had no idea what I was getting into. And of course, you know, Zully, she's very persuasive.
Yes.
And, you know, at that point in my life, I had just turned 50 and I hadn't really traveled that much. And I looked at this as, wow, this probably will be an adventure of a lifetime, going to a third world country for 3 weeks, not knowing the language. And it was. I have to say, I will never, ever, ever forget that first trip. We had such a great time, and there's so many stories to tell about the language and the miscommunication and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it was life altering for me. And therefore, you know, I went back to Chicago and talked to my friends. It's like, you know, you've got to volunteer. This is really something that's important. It's really impactful for other people to be able to impart the knowledge that you have. And I think that's what Zully wanted to do, is like take people who had knowledge of something to educate the people in this third world country, because, you know, their nutrition was terrible. They didn't even boil the water. The kids all had parasites. I mean, you know, it was challenging in that we kind of went to do an assessment. Well, guess what? You know, when they say that something is accessible, it really isn't accessible. For them, in their minds, whatever they created was accessible, but it really wasn't. And Zully was very keen about that because, of course, she worked in, you know, that arena. So, you know, education was the key part of the missions, I believe. Education.
Yeah.
And getting to know people from that part of the world. You know, I would have never known anybody from a third world country. I mean, it was just incredible. And thank you, Zully, for
Thank you.
Aventura.
So, Marilyn, there's a lot of people on the screen. Some I haven't seen in like ages here. Do you want to call on someone next, or we want Zully?
Yeah, how about George? Let's hear
George,
George,
our photographer.
the photographer. Yes, George, please.
What a precious gift you gave us, George, to take pictures. You want to unmute? He was everywhere
George,
taking pictures. George,
unmute George.
Muted. In fact, the pictures in this book are based on the photographs, many of them that George took. And I
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
George.
All right. Hey guys, how are you? Yeah, I was you know what, I met Zully through a seminar that I had been taking, and her and I were talking, and then about a week or two later, I'm out to dinner with my wife and started this conversation with this bubbly blonde, and it turned out to be Marilyn. And then I said, well, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm going over to Ecuador in a couple of weeks with my friend Zully Alvarado. And I said, well, there can't be two of them. So I said, well, you need a photographer? She goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So I ended up going on that one with you. So that's how I took it, as a sign that I had to go. So it was an amazing adventure, really meeting everybody, just like everybody says. It really, really was amazing. Zully's leadership really helped guide me through another country and not knowing the language. And it was a wonderful experience. All the people that I met were just so amazingly warm. And yes, Marilyn, I will say there were a couple of instances of miscommunication that created great mirth.
Yeah.
Thank
you, George. Thank you, George.
So,
that's perfect. That's wonderful. I would like to call Christian, from the eyes of an 11-year-old child and now an adult.
Oh, wow.
Christian,
where are you?
There he is.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Where are you? I'm gonna put you, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was really, really young. I was the youngest, I believe,
Yes, you were.
on that trip. And I'm 31. So it's been about 20 years. I wanted to go really early on. Even before that, I knew that I was lucky that I was born in Chicago. My mother is from Colombia, so I visited Colombia once before, and I had kind of seen some exposure, I would say, to another part of the world. And well, when I was invited to go to Ecuador, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I think and I did have way more direct a direct connection to the youth there. So that was pretty interesting to see just how life was for them. And so I've always been kind of interested in, seeing or trying to help out, I guess, in places where they're not as privileged as we are. So
Yeah, and Christian, your task was to collect how many toys before we left?
honestly, I don't remember. It was
Yeah, you were young.
yes,
Yeah,
I was,
Christian was the Christian, and one of the tasks was to collect 1,000 toys, and he did it.
And you
then
did that because you knew the children didn't have any toys, Sully, right? Just like you
right,
didn't have
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. Well, now let's ask Pedro. Pedro, who's in
Yes.
Ecuador now, from that his side, and because he has joined me on several missions, villages, and showed me around. So Pedro, I invite you to say a few words,
Please.
please. If I mute. Oh, there you
Thank
go.
you. Thank you so much. So everyone, I'm glad to be here to share my experiences with Casus for Change International. I was 22 years old. I met Sully 16 years ago. And it was a really experience because I was working as a teacher in a little village in Ecuador. And I was teaching English, and someone told me, "Do you speak English?" I say, "I do." And when I say that, they say, I met many volunteers for Council for Change International coming from the US to Ecuador to support and help people here in Ecuador. Can you join us? And I say, yes. And Sully, probably Sully doesn't remember that exactly when I met her, but I remember exactly when I met her. So when I met Sully, I think my life changed because I connect with her feelings and how she shared her feelings with everyone, with everybody. And I think the universe said, that's your mission. And I discovered my mission in my life. Sometimes I think you was born 2 times in life. The first, when your mom said, okay, you was born in that day, the day of your birthday. And the second is when you discover your mission. And Sully helped me to discover my mission. There were a lot of experience to share and meet a lot of children in different areas of Ecuador. And I've met a lot of friends, and I've met really nice people from the US. And everybody, we connect to the same ideals, to the same purpose. And that purpose is Sully. I want to say thank you to Sully because she every day and all the time is inspiring me. And she is the best human being that inspired me and who I am right now.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Very kind.
Thank you so
for
much
everything.
to everybody. And
Yes, thank
Lynn, congratulations.
So nice.
And
It's been like over
yes,
10
I'm
years.
so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so
Thank you,
excited.
Lynn.
Thank you so much to
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you. Lynn, I know there's a lot here, but 3 people that are still, so if that I want definitely to say a few words is,
Yeah.
I had asked Bob Pontarelli, and I had asked Dr. Dan or Tamara, and my husband, of course, will leave my husband till the last.
Okay.
So
Bob,
if you don't mind, then first,
that's
Bob.
fine. I hope all of you are enjoying these special
And then if
tributes.
anyone has, if anyone has questions as well, so we talked about that. So
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to have the people
Yeah,
first say a few words and then we can do the questions.
sure, yeah. So
That's all right.
we can
Bob,
see-
did you want to say a few words? Could you?
Well, first of all, great to be here. Thank you. And thank you, Zully, for the opportunity that I got to see a part of the world I would have never seen otherwise. And of course, being around you is a special experience. You know, you are so full of light and love and juice. You know, you're just, really electric to be around. And I just love that. And even now, I get your electricity from far away. And my experience in Ecuador was really special to me, for me, because I had never seen poverty like that. I remember we went to the 300,000 people living on the river there. And I was so taken aback by it. I got physically ill on the trip because I was a spoiled little Italian kid from the northwest side of Chicago, suddenly being in this other place that was totally alien and nothing, and like nothing I'd ever seen. And I really got present to how lucky we are to be here. And it was inspiring in so many ways. So thank you, really. And I have articles in my head that I wrote one recently, but there are many more in my head that still resonate from back then. And I don't know what year that was, maybe 2010, maybe.
So yeah, and it's good. Everyone can just go on the causesforchange.org, and then the article is in there. We posted it on the website, causesforchange.org. Yeah, .org. So you can find it. Bob Pontarelli. Yeah, Dr. Faust or Tamara, Dr. Faust. Your experience, because Tamara has gone on several missions. If you want to unmute. There's one person too that I saw here, Charlie Lima, and I also saw Brooks. But Dr. Dan? No?
I'll go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, Tamara. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You can find it. The mute.
Go ahead,
Wow.
Tamara. Say something.
I met Zully through my friend Jay He, and Jay He, I guess, met Zully at one of those seminars in Chicago. Jay He and I had an continuing education business with a company we were aligned with on technologies that were new wellness technologies, and they had a giving model that was sponsoring children, and we had Causes for Change sponsored. And so that first trip we took was really amazing to bring these products to these children. And I have to say, Lynn, the book just so blessed me. There's so many things we could all spend hours and hours and days, I think, talking about our journeys. But my daughter was 15 when she went with, and I could just see her just going around the compound. She was learning Spanish, and the children following her, like in the pictures you had in the book. So, and Marilyn, just getting to know and love Marilyn. It was just so fun to work with her. One of the things you talk about the toys, Zully, I still can never forget that one time we finally made it into this little town. They were waiting for hours in a church for us to get there. And you made me be the guardian of a bag of something. I didn't know what was in it, but then I didn't know where I put it. Finally, we figured out what it was. And it was a bag of jewelry. You think of the children, but this jewelry, people would donate. Now I always give all my extra jewelry my sister passes on. She just starts whipping out pieces of jewelry and blessing the women there. And to see them light up and to touch, it was just so beautiful. I still cannot get over that scene in that church that day. Thank you for letting me be a part of that journey, Zully. And I know we get to live close now and reminisce. But yes, like Bob said earlier too, it gave me a chance to see another part of the world. And I do say one thing. Anybody ask me about vacations, I say the best vacations I've ever taken were those mission trips. When you get to go and do something like that, you see so much. There's just no comparison. So
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you, Jen.
beautiful. I wanted just to add that today and tomorrow, everyone can get a free Kindle ebook of this story on Amazon. I put the link in the chat, and I just got in the mail printed books that I can send people as well. But you can go to Amazon and get a free ebook right now, which will be nice. At least you can get it immediately. All right,
Great.
Sue, you want to call on our next? I'm so
Sure.
excited. We have so many.
Dan's
Yes.
unmuted now.
Dr.
Dan.
Dan, do you want to say a couple of words?
Yes. I have to definitely say it was quite an experience. I've had the opportunity to travel pretty extensively, lecturing on different medical topics and that kind of thing in multiple countries. But going with you and seeing all the things that we were able to do, bringing dentists down along, the nutrition that we were supplying for the kids, and it was really neat that very responsible people on that end made sure that A, the kids were getting it, B, they were getting it the way they were supposed to be, and C, where they're giving us reports and helping us to just really more appreciate the gift that we had. If you ever want to wonder, like I did, when you go to a place like that and then think about where you came from, it's God, how come I got to be where I am?
Yeah.
It was just an amazing thing. But it was really quite spectacular because we went into special needs children. In one area, went in and lectured to a bunch of parents with kids with Down syndrome. And so we were just able to, not for the lifetime, but while we were there, make a real difference. And we're able to keep that going for quite a while after that as well. So
Yeah.
quite an experience. Now, I could talk about on our honeymoon that Tamara and I,
Oh, yes, with the full bikers.
Oh my gosh.
at any rate, we
That'd
were
be great.
in a town that had the bull races going on and running in the streets and the whole 9 yards. Quite an experience getting to see that and watching them play with the bulls in the rink there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that meant there was a whole lot of people there, and there weren't a lot of lodgings available. Zully, you want to tell them where we ended up?
The convent. No, we don't want to go there next time.
You
Next
worked
time
very
for sure.
hard to get us
We
all.
work, we change, when we go into a convent or wherever we go, we transform. It's no longer and stuff like that. Turned on the nun's office into my bedroom because accessibility, as was mentioned earlier, there was not such thing. So, hey, Zully has to sleep somewhere. Let's get up, let's move the desks and everything else. This is where Zully will sleep. At lower level, move the nuns somewhere else. So they were very obliging. So that was great. And they learned to dance with us as well. So that was wonderful. So,
One other thing, Zully, I appreciated incredibly, obviously being in the wheelchair is, hard here in the States. When you get down there where the building codes had nothing to do with people that might not have access the way that 2 feet would give you, how many different things she was able to do at the governmental level of the people that were in charge of those things and helping to change the world down there for individuals that did have challenges. Like, it was just an amazing thing. So above and beyond what we were doing, you talk about her leaving a legacy just because for the next how many decades, people would be able to get around a whole lot better than they had been.
Thank you.
I don't know
Thank
if you were there, Dan, when I was there, but there was one boy. I didn't put his picture in the book. There was a group shot with him, but he didn't, I think he either didn't have legs or there. And Sully went to the trouble of finding a little vehicle where he could be seated on it so he could look people face to face instead of having to look up from the ground. And I was teaching his group how to play recorder. And he was so happy to be able to sit up and look at people right in the eye. And that was because Sully found something for him to sit on that had wheels that he could move. There's so much.
There's a lot that could be said. So many experiences, so many lives changed. You said, like I said, in 2010, I had stopped counting 20,000 children. That's as far as.
Wow.
So, and then we are now
Can I
here.
call on someone here, Zully?
Yes, please. I had also Dr. Sanders, so many people
I
here,
would
but
like
also the industry.
the person who really inspired me to move forward and get this
Nice.
into a children's book also helped me and did not want to take any credit in editing and actually helped me writing the back of the book. That's my son, Andrew, who will participate with us for 3 summers in Ecuador. And Andrew, would you like to say a few words about how the experience was for you? You have to be unmuted though. You're still muted.
I was wondering who the handsome man was there.
That's
Am I still muted?
Yeah, no,
we can hear you
now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was not really even sure what to expect. I think I went 3 separate times with you.
Yeah.
But for me, it was so incredible to be given that opportunity where I'm able to help someone else. And it's not like I have a doctor's, I'm not a doctor. I didn't have a degree at that time or anything. And I was doing triage. And I remember we had a smaller group. It wasn't maybe too many of us. But there were so many people just lining up, wanting our help. And it was almost like we were celebrities in a way, where they all, in the sense that you're overcome with how much gratitude and attention you're getting. And so I feel like I almost got more than the assistance I gave them. I help people, get in lines, and I decided whether they would go in one group or the other. And one group was to have their tooth pulled, and the other was that they were okay, and just to go in for, I would give toothbrushing lessons with
Yes, that was so great.
2 other gentlemen. I forgot their names, but I learned the routine, like abajo, arriba. I forgot now how to say the whole thing in Spanish, but
that's great. You were
it
great,
was
Andrew.
it was amazing to be given that opportunity, and I'm grateful to you, Mom.
Oh, it was our pleasure. Yeah. And they didn't have toothbrushes before, right? They'd never had a toothbrush.
Oh, right. A lot of kids, they didn't even know what, like, some of them, it was hard for me, because then it makes you realize, at least it made me realize, how privileged my life is. When some of the kids, when I was showing them how to brush their teeth, they would open their mouth, and some of them had like almost no teeth left. And it was a lot of recess, abscess, and decay. And there's one kid in particular, which you have a photo of, Mom, which is in your book, where the kid had almost like 2 teeth or whatever. And he was maybe 7 years old, maybe younger. And, just made me really appreciate how lucky I am to be born.
Yeah.
In the
reminds me,
that I am.
You reminded me at this point about the little boy, I don't know if you recall, who had been watching. He didn't belong in any of the schools, but he had been watching every single day while we were volunteering. And Dr. Sanders, until finally we learned that this little boy had started asking, how many teeth do I have to give up so I can get the little red car that's over there? So it was a little red car that he had his eye on. So we said, you don't have to give up any teeth, but we got to make sure that you go through, we can put you on the list and get you to see Dr. Sanders and see if you don't have, if you don't need any tooth pulls, you can still have a toy. So we'll put it aside for you. The little tiny red car. And it's like, wow, it just touched me so dearly.
Wow.
It's amazing. But so yeah, before Lynn, if you thank you, Andrew. Just Jonathan, if you don't mind. Then
Jonathan, please.
Oh, sure.
please.
Hi, everyone. First, Lynn, congratulations. I'm so pleased for you. Great to see you and Joel and Andrew again. It's been many years, so this is wonderful. Before I say a few words, I did want to say I don't have much experience speaking on Zoom into a computer camera. So my wife tells me I look in the wrong direction. So if I do,
You're fine.
don't take it personally. I came to know of Zully 4 years before I had the good fortune to meet her. I read in the Chicago Tribune an article about her, ostensibly about an award she won from Avon Cosmetics for being a successful woman small business entrepreneur. But the article told about some of the stories she shared tonight. And I was just really impressed that despite all of the challenges she had in health, that she was pursuing her dreams successfully. And those dreams included not just what she wanted for herself, but what she wanted for other people in life. I was not like that, but it really impressed me. And I think that her goal in one of the important things that came out of causes, and for me being a volunteer, was not just helping people, as Andrew so well described, in a place that does not have the good fortune that we all have living here in the States, but the special things that can happen to a person who is volunteering. It's really an extraordinary thing where your orientation in life seems to be now including what you can do for other people. And there's not one way to do it. It doesn't mean now you have to be a volunteer or now you have to start a philanthropic organization, but you orient so that when you're moving through life, you're thinking about what you're doing, how it affects other people, and you want it to affect other people for the good. And I think Zully saw that very early on and wanted that experience for other people. And she was using, I'm not going to speak for her, it's just my impression that the excitement and pleasure and satisfaction for my wife wasn't just giving back in gratitude to the Catholic missionary priest who had had such a tremendous impact for the good in her life, but that her friends and family and people from all over the world would be given an opportunity to expand themselves and live in life mindful of how their lives could impact other people for the good. And it certainly impacted mine that way. I'll finish up by saying it never occurred to me that I was someone who should be a philanthropist or even be a volunteer. But I go through life now, thanks to the work that my wife has initiated. I go through life mindful, even in my everyday life. How can I impact the people who I meet in the course of my life? How can I impact them for the good, even if it's just to compliment them or admire what they're wearing or admire their new hairstyle? But it really does make a difference for people. And that way of being that I have adopted in life, I owe to my wife. And the other thing I wanted to mention in closing, in reading through your book, Lynn, I saw that sort of the realization that the young boy comes to. He arrives in the country nervous, not knowing what to expect. No one's really telling him he needs to do X or Y. He has to fend for himself and create that value for himself and for others by thinking about it and then taking action. And your book produces that feeling of discovery, not just adventure, but that self-discovery in the young man in the book. So I congratulate you on that. It's a great contribution to the young people who are going to read it to start thinking that way at an earlier time in life than I did about how to be in the world for yourself and for other people.
Oh, wow.
So congratulations.
I would ask you and everyone here if you do read the book. I hope you'll read it. If you and you can get a free copy, as I said today and tomorrow. If you would be kind enough to put a positive review on Amazon, I'd greatly appreciate it. Or an honest review, because it will help people notice it when it gets reviews.
Sure.
I don't know if Margarita's here. If you wanted, I thought she came in at the last minute. Is she from Ecuador or?
Yes, Margarita's in Ecuador, but Monica from Ecuador as well.
Monica's here too. Okay. Because I wanted also to allow people to have a chance to ask any questions.
Right.
We have prizes. I don't know how long it would take, so I hope it's okay if we run a little bit late, maybe a few minutes.
Yeah, Monica.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I have a cold and I really twisted my back, so I'm not myself today.
Okay.
But I had the great opportunity to go in one of the missions with Zully many years ago. Zully, I want to say 12 years ago. Is that right?
Yes, about that. Yes.
Yeah. So I went with a group of dentists. I'm not a dentist. And I am from Ecuador. I'm from Cuenca, Ecuador. And I've seen poverty in my own country, but not so close like this time around. And being able to be right there and help the kids and be part of this amazing cause in my own country was amazing. So somebody told me that Zully chanted No Myoho Renge Kyo, and back then I was doing No Myoho Renge Kyo. So we had that connection, very strong connection. I couldn't believe it that we got connected. And I was there. I was not a doctor, not a dentist. So she put me to help really an amazing chiropractor doctor. I don't remember her name, but she does BEST, BEST. And I was there to help to translate the people that were getting help. So it was just an amazing opportunity to give back to my own country and help the kids. And George, I remember you being the photographer and you share some pictures, and I never seen so much happiness in kids' faces. It's amazing for us. It's like, oh my God, there's so much poverty. They're lacking so much. They don't know that. They're so happy to get help. They're so happy to get a little toy or just a toothbrush, a toothpaste, and they're so happy. And I learned so much and appreciate my life so much more after that trip. So thank you, Zully.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So
I think Brooke wants to say something. Yeah, great.
Go ahead, Brooke.
Hi. Yeah, this is so wonderful. It's a flashback. I remembered that I started my Facebook account because of this mission. And it's the first album. So I went back and took a look at the pictures. Wow. And so many, I mean, they're right there on my Facebook. And I too was brought on, and to be honest, I don't remember how we got connected.
Yes.
Someone through the fire department, I think.
Yes.
I
had gone to the Chicago Fire Department. Yes.
Yeah. And so I had previous experience with a fire NGO, and we did fire service development. So I was brought in to work in the Galapagos, which was pretty different from the places that I normally operated. And but I was sort of just like a hanger-on for the dental mission until it was my time to go. And that made a significant impact on me. And after a career in fire service and like being the first responder, you sort of lose perspective on where the threats are. And taking part in that mission and just I'm looking at the pictures now, just the realization that this was an emergency intervention. and that looking inside these kids' mouths, these were life-threatening ailments that these kids had, and my whole image of dentistry changed. It's like, okay, we're not here worried about cavities. We're here about like cleaning up these infections that'll kill them. And it was also culturally, I've been to many places, but to see the kids and surrounded, like the only access, my perception or my memory is that the only access to any food in the school actually wasn't food, it was candy. And there were candy vendors surrounding the school. And so these kids' dental health was just terrible. And I made such a connection with these kids, and I still have the pictures. I still remember them, the joy. And there's that universal joy that kids have when there's, in underdeveloped or wanting situation, abject poverty. There's a love and a connection that is so easy to tap into. At any rate, I went on. We had brought down fire gear, and I went off and worked with Boris, and we went to the Galapagos, and that was the thing that I want to share about that is it was there was a trust. They trusted you, and they trusted the organization because they needed help that could be that was aligned with what they needed. And what I mean to say is that there are a lot of individuals or quote unquote nonprofits that are looking to take advantage of situations, and they had in the Galapagos. So for them to trust you to bring me there it was a important turn in their development, and we're still connected. And it's we ended up going back another year with my partner Adolfo, and we'll probably be back. But it was a really meaningful experience, and I echo everything everybody else has said about your tenacity and your drive to give back. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke.
So much.
I would like to. I wanted to do a raffle. We wanted to give you all a gift, and I don't know if do we cover. We have so many guests here and people I didn't see for a long time. Are we okay now with moving forward?
Yeah, I think so. Unless anyone has questions.
Stay in the background. That's okay. He wants to. He was a wonderful dentist for so many people.
Oh, he was so great. He was so fantastic. So great.
Didn't realize they don't even have electricity over there. You have to. Andrew shined a flashlight over people's mouths so that their mouth could be seen. In any event,
were there any questions from anyone?
I would like to open up. Any questions? You want to raise your hand? And Brooks, you can lower your hand if you'd like. Or does anyone want to use the digital raise hand or raise their own hand if they'd like to ask a question? Anyone?
I just want everybody to smile because I'm about to take a picture.
Oh, thank you.
So everybody smile, go ha ha and something. Okay, that's cool. All right, that's enough. All right.
Well, I would like to start off the gifts. And does anyone have any questions? You could not. There's no bad question.
How many mouths were done with Joel? How many? That must have been a lot of people.
Yes. Who are you asking? Joel?
I guess Joel, because Joel's the one that did it.
He's hiding over there. Do you want to just unmute your? He's there. I don't know if he wanted to. There were literally, Zully was watching. There were hundreds of people every day, and we were there for a week, but we had a couple of days off at the end. So there were many hundreds of people lined up in the 90-degree heat, waiting. And as Andrew was, there were people checking to see if they needed to have their teeth pulled or not, but they were waiting. and many of them had never seen a shot before, and they would scream or cry just looking at the shot of Novocaine. So it was pretty challenging and amazing situation because he was saving lives, people who couldn't get help anywhere else. I'm speaking for him. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else have a question? And I put Zully's information in the chat. So I would like to, and Tamara, if you're ready, I wanted to start with the first prize. It's virtual, and then also all of you, if you would like a children's ebook on social justice, which was my first book, I'll put my email address in the chat, and you just can email me and put in social justice, and I'm happy to share that book with you. It was written for ages 8 to 12, and it has 5 different profiles of kids who started their own nonprofits to make a difference. And it's a kind of a how to do it book, how to start your own nonprofit and make a difference. And since we're talking about differences, I would be neglectful if I didn't honor you all. And my mentor is here, so I have to do this. It only takes a minute, okay? And a lot of you have seen this a million times. I just actually wrote a blog about this experience of honoring my father. The last time I got to see my father, I honored him with a blue ribbon, and it was the very last time, and it was very meaningful. So if you want, I'll send you the blog too. And I want you to experience this for yourself. So I have, there, sort of, you can sort of see it in this screen. I have a blue ribbon for all of you, a gift. And in gold letters, it says, "Who I am makes a difference." Just imagine it, if you can't see the. And I want to honor you right now for making a difference and touching my heart and touching the hearts of so many people. Each of you here are very special to me, whether I know you personally or not. You're all here because you are committed to making a difference in the world, or you wouldn't be here. And as you could see by all the stories, each of you are touching lives, making a difference, saving lives, making people's lives better so that they can be happier and more loving and creating a better world. So I want to thank you. And I want to ask you, will you all unmute for a moment and just say, will you accept this gift?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And may I have,
Thank you.
thank you. And AJ's got a whole slew of ribbons on his screen. Thank you, AJ. And do I have your permission to place it virtually on you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. So the way it works, there's a little white sticky tape at the back. I'm going to put it, and you imagine I'm putting this above your heart, pointing upwards towards making all your dreams come true. And there's even a little circle of cheerleaders at the end of this ribbon, jumping for joy for your dreams. The tradition is I take the spark from my heart and I put it in your ribbon. It's right there. It's the sound that makes dreams come true. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and we're going to say, bing,
Bing.
everybody, bing. I tap on the cheerleaders. So if you felt that little goosebumps on your arm as I'm doing right now, it's saying that your dreams are coming true. If we had more time, I'd ask you what your dreams are. I want you to know that we're all here for each other, and you're welcome to reach out to me. Or we have the leader of the Blue Ribbon Movement right here, Grandma Sparky Bridges of Blue Ribbons Worldwide. Another gift, you all can go to blueribbons.org and get 10 free blue ribbons and see a movie of how this ribbon has actually saved lives. So that I'll put that in the chat too, blueribbons.org. Please go there. You can make a difference, as you can see, with just a minute. It really is important. Thank you so much, Grandma Sparky, for
That was a surprise, and thank you. God bless you all.
I had
That's
to do
marvelous.
that. So now Tamara has more gifts. She put everyone's name in a bowl or something, right? Tamara, wherever you are.
Yep.
Would you like to pull? So we did this the best we could. And then I wanted you all to know also, everyone who was a sponsor, everyone, even if they're not here, I put together, and I'm finishing it, a digital spinning wheel. And we have 3 different one night, we have a hotel stay at the Hyatt House, at Hyatt Place in the Chicagoland area. And then a week stay, 7 days at a wonderful place called Winter Circle Resort in Solana Beach. It's worth I'm way over $1,000. So I'm going to be doing that after this because there's so many names. So in the meanwhile, Tamara, would you, whatever you want to do.
Hi, Lynn. This is Dr. Bala. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay. It's right.
Yeah,
so we're
how
going
are
to do
you?
our
I just
raffle right
wanted to
now.
let you guys know, like I told you, you're so special to me for the work you do.
Oh, thank you.
I can't have a video now because I'm kind of, I told you I was had a tight schedule today. But you guys, it was very impressive. I want to tell you to keep up the good work. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Well, we've got a lot of special people, and Bobby Porter's here. She's leading a huge global movement in education. I mean, we haven't had a chance to even do any networking. If you want to put your information, Bobby, in the chat for the CAYS
Yes.
community.
Yeah, I'll
to
go ahead and
help
put
you.
the website there. This is all about community and connection, which this is all about.
Yeah, I want you to put your, so there's some great people if you want to, all of you save the chat and talk to some of these people afterwards. And we have Brenda Rankers and Sandy Mostick from Q College helping children who are deaf be able to excel in literacy and learning through a program process called Cued Speech that most people have never heard of. And they're doing amazing work. So please put your information in the chat, okay?
Just late, Lynn, just Mr. Mesa Tavera, one of our partners with Causes, Seeds of Hope, Latin America. He just was able to come, and we've partnered with him, and we've provided help for the Dominican Republic as well as for Honduras and Ecuador. So he was able to make it. He just
that's Daniel, right?
Yeah, no, Mr. Mesa from Seeds of Hope, Latin America.
You know, at the back of this book, I had put a number of organizations, including Bobby's organization and Sparky, and there's a number of others. So when you get the book, look at the back because there's and Q College is in here as well. I put them in there. All right, so Tamara, I don't want to take away any more attention from you.
That's no problem. I actually already pulled the first name, but what I'm going to give is a gift of, it's called Drive, but the same manufacturers that put this product together, sustainable energy, no caffeine, no crash, are the same company developers that made the supplements that we've gotten to thousands of children over the years with Zully. And so I have a 5-day sampling. You'll enjoy that. And it's Andrew Sanders.
Wow.
Andrew Sanders, oh, wonderful.
You put your information
You
in
got it. Yeah. So
he loves healthy things.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
That's your son, isn't that gorgeous?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We'll know how you're going to let us know how you do. And also if you want, Dr. Fouts is going to do a 30-minute consultation on wellness options. So if anybody wants that, the winner of that has that option too. And the second one is, I didn't get to look to see if he's on. It's Rick Irwin. Is he on?
That's great. He was here. Well, I can reach him because I know he would appreciate that. Would you put in your information in the chat, Tamara, about this product so they'll know? Okay. Okay. So yeah. So Rick, has gotten the second prize for the product. Is that it?
Yeah, and it's a 3-day supply. So he's got first prize was 5 days, and then 3 days, and then a wellness consult with Dr. Dan Fouts.
Wonderful.
And I wish you could hear the story of him in Ecuador. It was pretty
really.
it was an anniversary, not a honeymoon.
Okay.
I'll try to get that in there and a link to a video of what it's about. So
did you have another?
Thank you so much.
Or was there something from Zully?
Yep.
I also had something
I'm
else.
done. Yep.
All right. Zully, did you have something you wanted to?
No, just Tamara. I introduced Tamara.
All right. Well, I wanted to, a number of you were sponsors on my crowdfunding site. And so I ordered books and they just came like yesterday. But I also wanted to, now not everybody, here was a sponsor and that's okay. I wanted to have you pull one more name, Tamara. And I would like to give a copy of my book, Adventures in Ecuador. And you just would need to send me your mailing address to whoever would, whoever's name you pull. I can't even seem to get this in front of you. Here. Would you pull another name so we can bring out another book to someone?
You're muted, Tamara. You're muted.
Yes, Tamara, you're muted.
Sorry, yes, Margarita.
Oh, Margarita. Oh,
Ocho.
wow. Margarita, Ecuador.
Oh, Ecuador.
Ecuador,
Oh.
Margarita, she's on the phone here. Margarita, oh, there she is. Oh, she put on her
Where's
camera.
Margarita?
There she
Where's
is,
she?
Margarita in
Oh.
Ecuador. Oh, wow. Gotta
Wave
send
your
it to
hand,
you.
Margarita, so I can
Margarita.
take a picture.
Oh, wow. That's, congratulations. You're muted,
Congratulations.
Margarita. Prenda el micrófono.
¿Habla inglés, Margarita? I forgot. Do you speak English?
Poquito, un poquito.
Un poquito.
Little.
All right.
Yes, I got no.
Tengo un libro. Andrew could correct my Spanish. Para ti. All right,
Voy a que me traduzca.
Okay, I'll translate. Okay, I'll translate. Go ahead. Siga.
Muy lindo participar, ver que estamos casi alrededor de 40 personas.
It's so beautiful to be able to participate since we're about 40 individuals here.
Contando la experiencia de lo que un día fue la misión de Causas para el Cambio Nacional.
Sharing the experiences that one day with Causes for Change International.
Congratulations a Liam por ese enfoque y esa visión.
Congratulations for Lynn for the vision.
Las memorias de un viaje familiar de lo que fue el voluntariado de Causas.
Yeah, to bring to bring close, to bring to what the volunteerism, what was Causes for Change.
Y después de tiempo ver a muchas personas
in time.
Me llena de emoción.
In time, being able to see so many people here together just fills me with emotion.
Oh, thank you. Muchísimas gracias para todo. Thank you.
Nos ha hecho ver al mundo de una manera diferente. Gracias a la energía de Zully, al entusiasmo que pone y nos contagia a todos para seguir ayudando de nosotros.
I won't translate that. Just,
I missed a lot of that.
Yes, it's filled with emotion, with the energy. Just Pedrito, help me, ayúdame.
Thank you all.
Well, Monica.
Yeah, you did it correctly. It's just all the energy that Zully brings to the group and her leadership. We're so grateful. So thank you
so much. Well, thank you so much. My family here, wonderful cousins, Louis and I don't know, Gloria, and dear friends. And I just want to thank you all for coming. This is the first. Maybe we'll do something again like this in the future, but I want you to feel free to be in touch. I'll put in the chat, you can get a free story guide on my website and send me an email for the free social justice book. You can go on Amazon for the free ebook of this, and keep on. I just want to encourage you to keep on making a difference. Keep on sharing your light with the world. We all need to feel that. And you all have positive energy, or you wouldn't be here. There's Sherry. So nice to see all of you. So thank you. I love you all, and have a wonderful evening, and just know you make a difference to me. Thank you.
On my behalf, thank you so much. Thank you for your support to Causes for Change International. And to me, it's been my dream to bring my Americas together, my friends from the North and South, family from the North and the South, to come and be all one. Thank you.
Okay, everybody applaud again so I can take a picture. Yeah, take a wonderful picture. Bring your hands up. I want to see it. Okay, got it. I got it. I got it. I think I got it.
And my friend furthest away from India, all the way from India. Thank you, Devishay, from India. Thank you, Devishay, for being here. Devishay in Ecuador, the farthest. Okay, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank
be
you.
well all.
Bye-bye, you all.
Bye-bye.